Hi, in this tutorial, we're going to go over solving linear equations. So today, you'll learn how to solve linear equations, how to solve linear equations containing fractions, how to solve linear equations containing decimals, how to identify equations with no solutions or infinitely many solutions, and how to solve applied problems using formulas. So here's how you solve a linear equation. The first thing you're going to do is simplify the algebraic expression on each side. Then you're going to collect all the variable terms on one side and all the constant terms on the other side. Next, you're going to isolate the variable and solve. And then lastly, you can check the proposed solution in the original equation. Let's go over an example. Let's solve the equation 7 minus 4 times x minus 1 equals x plus 1. So here we have 7 minus 4 times x minus 1 equals x plus 1. So the first thing we're going to want to do is multiply. So here we're multiplying 4 times x minus 1. So here we're going to distribute 4 so that we get 4x minus 1 times 4. So we're distributing 4 equals x plus 1. Now we're going to multiply 7 minus 4x is 4x minus 4 equals x plus 1. So now we have 7 minus 4 is 3 minus 4x equals x plus 1. So now we can move 4x to the other side by adding 4x to both sides of the equation. So now we have 3 equals x plus 1 plus 4x. So now we have 3 equals 4x plus x is 5x plus 1. So now we can move 1 to the other side by subtracting 1. So now we get, let's move up here. So now we have 2 equals 5x. So now if we divide both sides of the equation by 5, we get x equals 2/5. So now we can substitute x equals 2/5 back into the equation and then solve to check our answer. So let's go ahead and do that. So we said x equals 2/5. So now if we do 7 minus 4 times 2/5 minus 1 equals 2/5 plus 1. So now the first thing we're going to do is multiply 4. So we get 7 minus 4 times 2 over 5 minus 1 times 4 equals 2/5 plus 1. So now we get 7 minus 8/5 minus 4 equals 2/5 plus 1. So now we can move 8/5 to the other side so that by adding 8/5 to both sides. So now we have 7 minus 4 is 3 equals 2/5 plus 8/5 plus 1. So 8 plus 2 is 10. So we have 3 equals 10 over 5 plus 1. Well, 10 over 5 is 2, so we have 3 equals 2 plus 1. Now we have 3 equals 3. So therefore, x equals 2/5 is a solution of the equation. Now here's how to solve equations containing fractions. The first thing you're going to do is to multiply both sides, which is all the terms, by the least common denominator. And this will clear the equation of all fractions. So let's do an example. Let's solve the equation x divided by 5 plus 1/2 equals x divided by 2 minus 1. So we have x divided by 5 plus 1 divided by 2 equals x divided by 2 minus 1. So the least common denominator, or the least common multiple in 5 and 2 is 10. So we're going to multiply both sides of the equation by 10. So here we're going to have 10 times x/5, x over 5, plus 1 over 2 equals 10 times x minus 2 minus 1. So now we're just going to distribute 10. So we get 10x over 5 plus 10 over 2 equals 10x over 2 minus 1 times 10. So here 10 divided by 5 is 2. So here we get 2x plus 10 divided by 2 is 5 equals, here 10 divided by 2 is 5, so we get 5x minus 10. So now we can move the variable to one side of the equation by subtracting 2x from both sides. So now we get 5 equals 5x minus 10 minus 2x. So 5x minus 2x is 3x. So we get 5 equals 3x minus 10. So now we can move 10 to the other side of the equation by adding 10. So we're going to add 10 to both sides. So now we have 10 plus 5 is 15 equals 3x. So now we can move 3 to the other side by dividing by 3. So if we divide by 3, well, 15 divided by 3 is 5. And here we have x. So that's our answer. X equals 5. Now here's how to solve equations containing decimals. You're going to multiply every term on both sides by a power of 10. The exponent on 10 will equal the greatest number of decimal places in the equation. So let's do an example. Here, let's solve the equation 1.4 times x minus 5 equals 3x minus 3.8. So here we have one decimal on both sides of the equation. So that means we're going to multiply by 10, by a power of 10. So let's go 1.4 times x minus 5 equals 3x minus 3.8. So the first thing we're going to do is use the distributive property. So we get 1.4 times x minus 1.4 times 5 equals 3x minus 3.8. Now we're going to multiply both sides of the equation by 10. So we have 10 times 1.4x minus 1.4 times 5 is 7. So we're going to do 10 times 7 equals 10 times 3x minus 10 times 3.8. So here 10 times 1.4x becomes 14x minus 70 equals 10 times 3x becomes 30x minus 10 times 3.8 becomes 38. So now we can move 70 to the other side of the equation by adding 70 plus 70 plus 70. So we get 14x equals 30x minus 38 plus 70. So let's do that really quick. 70 minus 38 is 10, comes 6, 3, 2. So it's 32. So now we get 14x equals, there should be an x right here. So equals 30x plus 32. So now we can move 30 to the other side of the equation. By subtracting 30x. So now we get 14x minus 30x equals 32. So 14x minus 30x is 16x. I'm going to use a different color. Negative 16x equals 32. So we can divide both sides by 16, negative 16, and then x equals negative 2. So that's our answer. And an inconsistent equation is an equation that has no solution. So, for example, x cannot equal x plus 4 because there is no number equal to itself plus 4. So here's how to express the fact that an equation has no solution. You can use the phrase no solution, or you can use the set notation, which is a 0 with a cross or dash through it, which stands for an empty set, meaning a set with no elements. So let's do an example. Let's solve the equation 3x plus 2 equals 3 times x plus 5. So we have 3x plus 2 equals 3 times x plus 5. So the first thing we're going to do is use the distributive property to get 3x plus 2 equals 3x plus 5. So now we can move 2 to the other side of the equation, or we can move 3x to the other side to get 3x by subtracting 3x. So now we have 3x minus 3x plus 2 equals 5. So now 3x minus 3x is 0, so we have 2 equals 5. So that cannot be. So we can say that this equation has no solution or is an empty set. Now let's solve the equation 2 times x plus 4 equals x plus 8. So we have 2 times x plus 4 equals x plus 8. So we're going to use the distributive property to get 2x plus 4 times 2 equals x plus x is 2x plus 8. So now we have 2x plus 4 times 2 is 8 equals 2x plus 8. Well, here we can see right away that these equations are equal to each other. So therefore, there must be a solution. So here we can subtract 8 from both sides. So 2x equals 2x. Now we can divide both sides. By 2. So we get x equals x. So here, the solution to the equation is x. So now you should be able to solve linear equations. You should be able to solve linear equations containing fractions, containing decimals, and you should be able to identify equations with no solution or infinitely many solutions. You should be able to solve applied problems using formulas. So now, try and solve problems in the Solving Linear Equations workbook. For more help, sign up for online tutoring, and in the next tutorial, we're going to go over formulas and percents.